That's it.
And football's a results-based business, and we need to actually kick on from the position that we find ourselves in. You'll all know that for the last week or two, in fact over 2 weeks, we've been looking to find what we believe to be the right candidate to take the football club on to the next level. And we conducted quite an exhaustive interview process. At least I was exhausted anyway, what about you? And we had some really strong candidates. And at the end of that process, we've decided that we found the right man. In fact, we found the right two men, in so much as that you'll all know, without me telling you, that Steve works very closely with Steve Coppell, who unfortunately couldn't be here today because he's got a prior arrangement. You know, we're delighted that Richie and Steve have decided to join us from a very strong candidate list. All of those people interviewed extremely well. I think my colleagues here, all present at those interviews, would say. But without a shadow of a doubt, and by some distance, the man sitting to my right, we're delighted to welcome Richie Barker to Portsmouth Football Club. Richie.
Andy Newman, really. So, Richie, first of all, just how proud are you to be named manager of Portsmouth Football Club?
Extremely. A fantastic football club. You only have to obviously look outside, but also as well, just around the place, the history of the football club, and certainly the potential of the football club. But it's certainly one with a fantastic history, recent and past as well. So. I'm extremely grateful for the opportunity and flattered to be chosen.
What's sort of achievable here in the short, medium and long term for you?
Well, I think we do need a short-term goal, which is to, as quickly as possible, get into the top half of League Two, and then obviously eventually get out of League Two in the right direction. In the long term, who knows? And that was something that really excited me about coming here, because I'd have to say there's no glass ceiling. It's something that if this place gets rolling, it can keep going. So you know, there is no sort of end goal, if you like. The end goal is we just keep going.
Just finally, for me, how important is your experience in the past of getting out of League Two at the right end going to be for the forthcoming year or 18 months or so?
Yeah, well, I did it once as a player and once as a caretaker manager. So hopefully I can use that experience and know what's needed. Both as a character and a character within the dressing room, but also in terms of the football side of it as well. So hopefully we can try and create that very quickly.
Richie, you're obviously becoming a bigger name in football, but Steve Coppell has been a big name in football for a very, very long time. Two questions really. How do you work together? Who does what? And how important was it that he was a part of this package?
Who does what? Steve helps me. And helps everybody round about him. You know, he's pretty open to just say he's a helper. Really, that's his. I think if he had his way, that's what he'd call himself. So,
You know, our DNA is that we're a special club. We're supposed to be loyal to the people that work for us, and certainly listen to the fans on a more in-depth basis than perhaps football tends to do. And so it's pretty important that we have somebody that enables us to build this football club. This football club doesn't need building from the ground up, it needs building from the bottom of a bomb crater up. And there were some comments in the press while we were going through this process that maybe we didn't have enough nous on the board to choose the right manager. Well, you know, I haven't scoured boards around the country, but generally I'm not sure that they're always filled with football people. But if we could have somebody alongside us as a board with Steve Coppell's track record, I mean, he's probably forgotten more about football management and, with all due respect, some of the other candidates have to their elbow right now. And I don't need him to be anything other than Steve Coppell. I mean, having met him now on several occasions, I mean, he's got an incredible amount of experience. He's got fantastic contacts. His job with the previous club was to help. He goes and watch under 10 games in a course of a week at all levels. He helps Richie with scouting issues. He helps him with player selection in terms of who they're going to hire and fire. He helps you with things from the stand that you perhaps don't see so easily from the touchline on a match day. And he's always been available for the board itself for football matters on a more general basis. And you know, you can't buy that. You just cannot buy that. And to be honest with you, how many people in this room, if Steve Coppell had walked through the door 4 years ago, wouldn't have thought, my goodness me, as a manager in his own right, haven't this club put off a coup?
You've worked with Richie before.
Yeah.
What makes him so special, and what made him the best man for the job?
From working with him before, the attributes I think he's got ambition, burning desire to progress personally and the club that he's with. His attitude in and around the training ground on match day, the respect that the players have for him. You know, you're always talking to players and that, and they all speak very highly of him. People in the game.
Can I just jump in there too, because some of the other comments, and we did pay attention to some of them. Mick and I specifically talked this. It was somehow perceived that it was a weakness in our selection process to take the advice of a CEO, who I rate really highly, so do the rest of the board, about an appointment as important as this. Mick, you've got your own comments about that.
Absolutely agree. Many of you will know that I've been in business for 40 odd years, and if I have a respected employee who tells me that he knows someone who would be good to run my next branch, I'd be a mug not to interview him. We people talk about it having being a shoo-in. Well, that couldn't be more ridiculous, honestly. I read more than 50 CVs, researched quite a lot of people. I attended every single interview last week, which was very tiring, I can tell you. And we made a decision at the end of the week. Simple. We picked the best candidate.
And he just couldn't find anybody cheaper. That's the truth about it. But we've got top-class CEO, top-class financial director, who was involved at Premier League level. We've got a really creative and innovative commercial manager. And to add these two people to that management team, I think strengthens his job. It helps him enormously, and we're chuffed to bits to have him in.
And I'd like to add something to that. People do underestimate the experience.
For Richie Barker, there's a lot of fan expectation here. How do you think you're going to cope with it?
Well, the fan expectation, part of the reason I came, because the fan expectation means that they don't want to be here. They don't want to be in League Two. They want to be in one of the top two divisions. So that expectation should drive everybody on. I'm sure it's tough, because if that expectation becomes unrealistic, then it can become a burden. But I don't think it's unrealistic. I think 2 cup finals in the last 6 years. Not long ago since the Premiership, and I think the expectation's quite right. So I'm sure it'll be tough to handle. But that's the reason I came here, because I want to fulfil those expectations. And if everybody pulls together, which I'm sure everybody will, then who knows where we could end up.